All right, we're joined today by Griffin wrestler Joey Alessandro and head coach Brian Tucker. First off, Joey, congrats on a spectacular run through the national championships to the national final. He's the first Griffin wrestler to wrestle for a national championship and is the highest placing Griffin with a second place finish. He becomes only the second All-American in program history. Joey, what were your expectations heading into the event?
I was really expecting to All-American. I knew I could get on the podium somewhere, but I really didn't know how far up the ladder I could be.
Coach Tucker, any advice you gave Joey heading into the event before the entire event started?
We kind of came to the conclusion together that qualifying was such an accomplishment in his redshirt freshman year that anything that happens at the event would just kind of be icing on the cake, so it kind of relieved the pressure from him.
Now we're just going to kind of talk through each match, and if you guys have any comments about each match, you can jump in. Friday morning opening round, you opened up with Bryce Killing of King, Tennessee. You opened the match with a quick takedown in the first period and led 2-0 after the first period. You increased your lead to 5-2 with an escape and another takedown in the second period. And in the third period, you picked up one final escape and then your final riding time point for the 7-2 first round victory.
I knew it was going to be a tougher match. He was ranked third in the nation, I'm pretty sure, all year. And my game plan coming into that was just try and get to my stuff and score as many points as I could.
We chose not to go down too. The kid was pretty tough on top, so we took that in. And then once Joey had his lead and really just kind of made sure he stayed in good position and worked his stuff and made sure that again once he had that it was going to be very tough for that kid to come back from.
Then you advanced to the quarterfinals. You took on Nate Rodriguez of Maryville, Missouri. He was ranked number 1 in the D2 wrestling regional in the national rankings going in. You had a reversal on a 4-point near fall in the first period to take that quick 6-2 lead. Was that something you were trying to do to jump on him early?
Yeah, I knew that he would break eventually. I talked to a couple guys that wrestled him earlier in the year, and they said if you just keep it on him, score some points, and he'll break. So I knew he could break.
Joey added a takedown in the second and one more in the third period, plus that riding time point for an impressive 11-3 major decision in the quarterfinal round.
Yeah, he actually in that first period too, he had about 4 mat returns, which statistically doesn't get shown, but that really kind of just put the nail in the coffin for the kid almost early, where when it just demoralized him. Every time he stood up, we were able to bring him right back down to the mat.
Then you advanced to Saturday morning semifinals. You took on Matt Nelson of St. Cloud State. You got a quick takedown and escape in the first period. Again, you led 3-2 after that first period. It was a wild second period, tons of scoring. You came out of that second period, though, with that 9-8 advantage. And then you got the last 4-point near fall in the third for that big 13-10 win.
I knew, and again, I talked to a couple guys before the match that watched him wrestle or might have wrestled him earlier this year, and they said that he really had a gas tank, so he had some good conditioning. I knew I had to keep my head in it the whole match and just keep plugging away.
Yeah, that was it. We knew going in that he was going to be able to keep up with Joey's conditioning. And once we got the 4-point near fall in the third, it was at that point we were pretty confident. But it was a back and forth match and definitely an exciting one.
Joey, then after you won that semifinal, what were your feelings right after that match? You knew you were going to wrestle for a national championship.
That was a great feeling. I usually don't get too excited after wins, but that was one of the matches I showed a little bit more emotion. I hugged Coach after. That was a great feeling.
It was great. It's crazy because you actually almost don't get too much of time to enjoy it. We embraced in our hug for a little bit, and we're immediately being brought into the back room for some headshots and interviews. But yeah, it was kind of surreal, and it's finally setting in this week.
Joey, can you talk about that a little bit more? Right after the match, I know they take you behind the scenes stuff. Can you just describe to everybody out there what you had to do right after that match?
To be honest, it was a little awkward. You go into a room, there's a big light right in front of you and a camera, and he tells me to pose, however, and take some pictures and videos for finals.
And you did a couple interviews just for questionnaires and different things that we heard during the actual broadcast.
Yeah.
Now, heading to that finals, you kind of had all day to prepare in between the semis and finals. And And then you finally got there, and you're in that tunnel. Like, if anybody watched the video, that you get to run out through a tunnel and everything. First off, did you get to pick the song? That's something I was wondering.
Yeah, we got to pick
okay?
songs.
I was wondering because everybody came out to different songs, so I just want to know if you did get to pick your song. But what were your thoughts as you're in that tunnel? The music starts playing, the smoke's coming out. What were you thinking right at that moment, and as you're heading out towards the mat?
I was just really thinking, still stay calm and try to score as many points as possible. Really just wrestle how I wrestle.
You took on Darren Winham McKendry in the national final. He took an early 4-2 lead with 2 takedowns. You got 2 escapes for that 4-2 lead. And then the second period, late in that first period, he actually got another takedown and gave up the 4 back points, which put you down 10-4 after 1 period. Second period's very low scoring. Win led 11-5 after the second period. You got an escape early in the third period and got the late takedown, but just kind of ran out of time, I think, more or less, for that 12-8 loss in the national final.
You know, after he scored, he was up on me first period, second period. I just kept trying to stay positive and keep scoring, close the gap a little bit. But like you said, I ran out of time.
Yeah, I mean, he really did everything we could have asked for. We preach all year that it's entertainment, and at the end of the day, that final score was 12-8. Like, he kept going after it. And the other thing is as a coach, Joey's been so good on top that he's never really out of it either. So going into that third period, we were still in the match. And again, unfortunately, we ran out of time. But you know, in terms of what we practice and what we preach, he went out to put points on the board. And to that kid's credit, the other kid kept up with him.
Joe, if you can just talk about the entire overall experience of the weekend, from the flight out to any pregame things they had, like I'm sure they had a banquet before you and everything, just the entire experience and what it means to you.
Really, I'm just grateful for the experience. Really like to thank God for the opportunity to go out and wrestle and show my ability to compete at the highest level.
Coach, is there anything you'll take away from this weekend that will help the program in the future? Anything you notice that, you know, maybe I can make this change, I can do this a little different, that's going to help the program in the future?
Yeah, I try to take away from everything. Anytime we're watching even regular dual meets on television, or again being at the national tournament, some of these high-level programs like St. Cloud State, Nebraska Kearney, they do some things a little differently that we try to bring into our practices and change some stuff. The biggest thing is the sport's changed a little bit with the 4-point near fall. And Joey excelled with that this year, racking up tech falls throughout the year. And essentially, it's kind of changed the game a little bit, where we're focusing a lot more on top. We're transitioning from takedown to back points right away.
Joey, talk about the job Coach Tucker's done for the program.
I think he's done a great job. I really think that if there's one person that wants this program to succeed, it's the guy sitting to my left right now. He dedicates his time and energy a lot to the program, and for one, what he's done personally for me was just really believe in me, recruiting me. There wasn't too many coaches that were willing to give me a chance in college, but he was willing to give me that chance, and I'm really grateful for that.
Coach, personally, what does this experience mean for you as a coach?
It's kind of undescribable. Friday night, I ended up with my first All-American, and then to be able to coach him in the finals is just great. And like you said, we developed a relationship from the time we were recruiting him, and local kid, we got to see him a lot. And even actually, there was a few times where I was kind of, man, I can't believe he hasn't committed yet to us. You know, it took a little longer, but it was just an exciting atmosphere, and something that really meant a lot. And you know, it was huge for me personally, and it was great just getting to see Joey to have that experience and enjoy that atmosphere.
Finally, Joey, what does this experience do for you in the future?
Really builds my confidence up. I think one of my biggest flaws as far as wrestling goes was just not having enough confidence in myself and not believing in myself when it really mattered. But just getting to wrestle at the highest level and in the finals really boosts my confidence.
And finally, Brian, what does Joey finishing second mean to the program?
It's a great accomplishment. It shows that our guys something tangible. I think sometimes they watch the finals and almost don't feel they belong there or that they can achieve that goal. And now having one of their friends, one of their leaders of the team, somebody that they've known their whole life, and they know how much work he puts in and extra workouts he does with coaches he grew up with outside of me, that has just paid off for him. And I think now that they see that, I think that proves to the guys on the team, even more than our recruiting efforts, that that's something that they can reach and that they can actually excel at and accomplish their goals if they're putting forth the effort and working hard. So I really think just having that publicity in the finals and getting people to ask where Seton Hill was located and what part of Pennsylvania we were from, just gave us the press and the publicity as a wrestling program. And then for our guys sitting at home watching him, they just get that fire and desire to work harder and get to that level of accomplishment.